this is Kaylee Jensen, and this is my 2.2 redo. And 2.2 is on supply. So for number 1, I'm going to make my graph here, price and quantity. And then we're going to have our prices 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And our quantity is going to go up 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So the law of supply states that there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Since our supply has a direct relationship, we would have it as 1, 10, 2, 20, 3, 30, 4, 40, and 5, 50 as our little chart here. So 110, 220, 330, 440, 550. That's what our supply would look like because there is a direct relationship. So as price increases, your quantity supply will also increase. So for number 2, quantity and other price and quantity. So this is our supply. And now we're going to be talking about the movement along the curve or the shift in supply. So a movement along the curve for shift would just change prices to go up and quantity would go up. So if our prices go up, we would shift to the right or up. And if price went down, we would shift downward. But would move downward. If there was a shift in supply, say there was another one of our 5 determinants, like our price of our number of producers or our technology. So we can shift, if there's more supply, we can shift to the right, we can supply more. But if something happens where we can't supply more, then we would shift to the left because there's less supply. So for number 3, price, quantity, supply. That's our regular supply. And then if we were to increase in supply, say if technology increased our production of computers, our supply would increase because now we can make more. But if our supply decreased, let's say some of the resources to make and produce computers is becoming less and less or more rare and harder to find, then our supply would go down because we can't make as much. All right, and for number 4, we have our 5 determinants. So we have our first one, price, quantity, and supply. So for our first one, we would have our price of our resources. So in the market for milk, if the price of cows increased, then our supply of milk would decrease and shift to the left. But if our price of cows decreased, then we can produce more milk because we have more cows and supply more and shift right. So price of resources here. For our next one, we have our number of producers. So if more workers were hired, then we can make and produce more, so our supply would go up. But if there's less workers, then our supply would go down because we can't make as much. For our next one, we're gonna do technology. So if technology increased to produce any good, like let's say mechanical pencils, if the technology to make them increased or was better, our supply would go up because you can make more. But if you can't, if our technology isn't as good, then we can decrease our supply. For our next one, we have our taxes and subsidies. So for taxes, if the government taxes the company, then it would decrease the supply because they can't make as much or produce as much. But if the government gives money as subsidies, it would increase the supply because it would help them. And then our last one, we have expectations. So if a company thinks that they will earn more later on, then they can hold their supply and wait until they believe they can make more. But if they make more, their supply goes up. And that's all for 2.2. Thank you.